Okay guys, welcome back to another episode of our Christmas carnival game. Today we are going to be carrying on working on the movement of our our background wave images. Today we are going to add the movement of each one, but each consecutive one, so the one after the previous one, is going to move in a different or the opposite direction as the one before it. So if the first one moves to the right first, the next one is going to move to the left first, and then once it reaches its limit, it's going to swap directions and move in the opposite direction. And then what else do we want to do? Depending on how long that takes us, if we get it working properly, we will start working on, actually not start working on, but we'll go and have a look and see if we can figure out what we want to use for a target for this game, because the first level of this game is focusing on shooting down moving targets, and some of them might be stationary. We'll see. But let's jump straight into here and see what we can get going and get working straight away. So let's go and open up our left to right script. So that's open here. So what we want to do is we want to have, so at the moment, let's start over here. So in our scene, we currently have 3 background wave. I don't know what you call these things. For now, they're just going to be called waves, even though they're not really waves. But these are our backgrounds. So what we want them to do is, the first one we want to start at probably X position is going to be 1.5. The second one in the index, which is at index 2, is also going to start at 1.5. And then the middle one, which is at index 1, is going to be at minus 1.5. So what we want to do is we want all of these to move. Actually, we'll start by doing this. We want the first one and the third one to move together, from right to left, so something like that. And then while this is moving like that, we want this one to also move in this sign in that direction, moving to the right and then back to the left. But later on we could move them. Actually, we will do this at the beginning, because I see in our previous episode we added a speed. So depending on the speed, they were all going to be moving at different speeds. We'll see how it works. But for now, let's go and jump into our script and get coding. So what we want to do is we want to open up a new window of my browser. I did open this up, but I closed it for some reason. Okay, so in our script, we want to, let me just pull this up quick. We want to add some movement onto each script, which is attached to each of our images. So to do that, we are going to, first of all, we have our is moving right in our script. So if our image is set to is moving right, we are going to start the image from the left and move it to, or actually we'll start them all in the middle, and then we can move them from the middle to the right or to the left, depending on if this box is checked. So let's go and do that. So in our script, we can go in our update method. Here, let's say if is moving right, move it to the left. So we also want, we have a speed there. What else do we need? We need a maximum and minimum distance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually we can just do this in here because we probably won't need it anywhere else. So let's go and say private int max limit. Yeah, that is going to be, I believe that's going to be 1.5. So if we move this, let's see, it can be moved all the way up to there somewhere. So yeah, we'll say that 1.5. We'll set that to 1.5, and then we'll do the same for the limit. That's going to be the exact same thing, but it's going to be negative 1.5. So that is going to be our minimum. Okay, so this is going to be a float rather than an int, because it is a decimal point. So float, just like that. And then, so if is moving right, then we want to move it to the left. Okay, so let's go and do that. So what we're going to do is we need to add some speed and velocity to it. So let's go and say let's try this dot, actually I can't actually remember how to do this. We need to go time dot delta times the speed. So let's go time this dot transform dot, there we go, is equal to time dot delta time times the speed. That's not how you spell speed. Speed, there we go. Okay, and then we also need to give it a direction. So this is going to be, actually we'll just make a direction over here. So let's go and say int direction. We don't need this in the inspector, so we'll say private int direction is equal to 1 times direction, like that. And depending on if it's moving to the right or the left, we will go and swap the direction value. So why is this not going to work? Cannot implicitly convert type float to vector 3. Okay, so that's not going to work. So let's do this. Transform dot position is going to be equal to a new vector 3, and then we'll add this to the x because we only want to move it on the x-axis, and then y is going to be 0 and z is going to be 0. So we'll do that and we'll save that. So let's go on to do we use our speed? Yeah, we did. So let's go into our Unity editor here and see what we have got. So field left to right movement, max image design, but it's never used. Okay, that's fine. So we'll deal with that just now. So if we press play, hopefully we will see that our they did not move, I don't think. Okay, so they are moving, but they are getting stuck for some reason. Okay, so if it is moving right, transform dot position dot. For some reason, I think that is completely wrong. Let's try this a different way. Let's try transform dot position is plus equals to vector 3 dot right times what is it, time dot delta time. Let's try that. So now only the what do you call it, the waves that are moving right should move. Okay, so those now they're moving to the right, which is perfectly fine. So now let's go and say here all you need to do is say else the same thing. Did I copy that? Yeah, I did. So change that to minus equals, so we'll go the opposite direction. Actually, we could probably just use what's it called? We could probably just use left. So now you can see, if we go into our scene, you can see that these are currently moving in opposite directions, which is what we want. But now because they are moving like what's it called? They are just moving without stopping. We need to go and add another limit. So when we get to that limit, we need to go and swap the boolean. So if the boolean is true, we need to go and swap it and change it to false, and if it's false, we need to go and swap it and change it to true. So we don't need the direction because we can use, actually I'm gonna keep that as plus, and I'm going to change this to left just because that makes more sense, and I'm just gonna make sure that this actually works, otherwise we'll go and swap it back. So we'll play that, and then we should see, yeah, that's working fine. Okay, so we haven't added in the speed yet, so let's go and let's try and do that. Times speed times speed. We'll save that, and then let's go and see if this works, because we added different speeds to them. So our back one is going to be moving at a speed of 15, the middle one's going to be moving at a speed of 10, and the front one's going to be moving at a speed of 5. So let's go and see if that works. Okay, so yeah, that works, but that's a bit too fast. So let's go, we'll change that to 5. The middle one will be at 3, and then the first one will be at 1. We'll see what that looks like. So we'll save that, play the game, and see how fast that looks. Okay, we'll leave that like that. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the last one to equal to 2. Okay, so now let's go work on stopping our putting in this restriction. So if it's moving right and it has reached that limit, then we need to go and tell it it's moving left. So now we need to get the position. So let's see here and say int x is equal to transform dot position dot x, like that. So now that we have our x position, let's go and change that to float because it will be a decimal at some point. So now that we have our x position, we can go and say if it's moving right, and let's try this, and x position is less than less than or equal to the max limit, then we can go and do this. Else if what's it called, x position, actually we need to say is not moving, that's not one, is not moving right. Don't know if this is going to work, but let's try it. Is not moving right, and the x position is greater than or equal to minimum limit. I have a feeling that this is not going to work. So let's save that and jump into Unity and see if that works. It would be great if it did, because then that would pretty much be everything that we needed. Okay, so it does work, but now what we need to do is we need to swap the values. So what we can do is we've checked that if it's moving right and the x position is less than the maximum limit, we can go and move it, and then in here we can go and say if x position is equal to max limit, then is moving right. It's not moving right. Let's see if that works. Is moving right is equal to false. Then we'll copy that and then we'll paste it and pop it over here, and we'll change this to true. So we'll save that and jump into here and see. Now, hopefully, they will move from left to right, which they don't. So let's check. We'll select this one. It's moving right, so it is ticked. So that one's ticked, and when we untick it, it moves to the left. Okay, so it is working nicely. It's just not updating in the actual game. So let's go and see what's happening. So if is moving right, so seeing as that doesn't work, let's go and take that out. So let's see, if is moving right and X position is greater or less than or equal to the max limit, then we want it to move to the right. We also need to, we need to figure out a way to change the value of the is moving right boolean, because we can't do it in the update method because it's going to change it every frame. So how can we do this? Let's go look it up quick. Unity swap direction when reaching point, moving object change direction. Okay, so that's pretty much what we want. So that's pretty much what we've done, but let's go back here and see what else we can do next. So they get to the point, but then they don't swap. Okay, so let's see. If is moving right and X position is less than that, okay. Well, I'm going to try something else. Let's go in here and say, let's make another if statement. If let's go and cut this out so we don't put that in the same if statement. We also cut this out. And then in here we will say if X position is less than the maximum limit or equal to it, then we will say is moving right is equal to false. And then we'll say the same thing, but we'll change this to greater than or equal to, and I'll set that to true. Don't know if that's gonna work, but let's go and try it and see. Play. That's not gonna work because it's not gonna. There's no limit. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in there because that controls our limit, like that. Save that and then play the game and see what happens. Okay, so that just made it worse, which is not what we wanted. Okay, so we need to get rid of that because that's clearly not working. I've done this before. Let me just look at one of my games that I made. We made this in our previous games. What was it called? It was the I think it was the, I can't remember what it's called, the breakout game. Asteroids. Was it Asteroids? No. Let's see. No, it wasn't that. It was. I know what game it was. It was our platformer game. So let's go back to here and check. Where is our platform game? The one I think it was the very first game we made. Where is it? This one. 2D runner. So let's see. Assets. Scripts. Enemy script. So if direction is right, yeah, else. Okay, so let's try and implement this. So, it's pretty much the same thing, because in our enemy we wanted, well, in our platform game we wanted the enemy to go from left to right. When it reaches the point, the end point, it flips its direction. So let's go and say if it's moving right, that's fine. Let's go and change this. Transform dot translate. We'll get rid of this and try and do it this way. Transform dot translate, and then in here we want to say vector 2 dot right times the speed times time dot delta time. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we will get rid of this, and then we will get rid of this as well. So we'll get rid of that. We'll copy that, paste that there, like that. This needs to be left. So that's going to control our movement. So let's go and see if that works. So if we play that, that should still be the same. Okay, so they're still moving from left to right, which is great. Now we want to go and change the direction, so that we still do that underneath here. I just did it wrong the first time. So here we can go and say if transform dot local position is local position dot x is greater than or equal to the max limit. Then we can go and say is moving right is equal to false, like that. And then we will say the same thing with the negative, so is less than or equal to the minimum limit, then this needs to be equal to true. But I feel like we just did that and that didn't work. Anyway, let's go and see if that works. So we saved it, let's play the game, and then, okay, so that does work for some reason. Okay, so that's what we wanted. We wanted them to move from left to right, and then when they reached that point, they suddenly swapped directions and travel in the opposite direction. And clearly we just did something overcomplicated, but it's fixed now, so that's great. So we could probably, I'm going to slow that down a bit because the back one is a bit too fast. So 750, we'll make that, what's this one? That is 2, that is 3, we'll make this one 4, why not? 4, maybe even 3.5 or something. Actually, you know what, I'm going to change this to 2. And then, yeah, let's do that. So let's make the big one, the first one and the third one will move at the same rate, same speed. So this is going to be, that's all going to be equal to 0. We'll pop those in the middle. So let's play that now. So the first one and the last one should move at the same speed, and then the middle one, actually I'm going to change that again. So these two, that one and why can't I select them? The first one and the last one will both start at -1.5, and the middle one will start at 1.5. So the middle one is going to be moving to the left, so that's going to be unticked. And then the first one and the third one is going to be moving to the right, so that's going to be ticked. Okay, let's play the game now, and hopefully that looks a little bit better. But I need to change the speed. So the middle one needs to be at the same speed of 2, otherwise it's just going to match the other two. So yeah, that looks much better. I don't know if you can see that because the colors are not that different, but you can now see that they are currently moving at the same rate, the first one and the last one, and the middle one is also moving at the same speed but just in the complete opposite direction, which kind of looks cool. So in the next episodes we are going to work on adding some, we'll go and look for some targets. We'll probably get like a picture of Santa's face or some reindeer or something, I don't know, Christmas items to pop in. And then actually we'll get a few and then we'll just display them at random. So we'll pick a random image and then display that. And then the user that's playing will have to go and hit that target. But yeah, that's looking good for today. So that is why can't I change this? Hold on. Okay, that's not working. So what we want, let's see, starting screen. This one. Okay, so clearly that's not working. But anyway, that is probably it for today. Like I said, in tomorrow's episode we will go and start looking for some targets and hopefully start generating or implementing the targets to appear at random. So at random I mean the random target, so the random picture, whether it be Santa's face or a reindeer or a Christmas tree, who knows what it is. We'll go and see if we can find anything, but that's pretty much it for today. So again, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, go ahead and like the video and don't forget to subscribe if you want to watch some more videos. And also we have, well, at least I said we were going to do an episode every day, but I failed yesterday, but we're going to do it. We're going to try our best. So hopefully a episode every weekday from now until the end of the year, and then we will carry on once this Christmas themed game is finished. We'll carry on with our Tetris, and then we also need to get cracking on with our slab stacking game. I completely forgot about that, but we'll get back to it eventually. So that's pretty much it for today. So thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next episode if I can figure out how to turn this off. Goodbye.